Hello and welcome to the Mostly Media Podcast, where we talk media mostly. I'm your host, Cole Giroux, and today we have...
It's me again. It's Maddie.
Once again, for the fourth time, we have Madeline Suver. This was supposed to be an episode for like 2 weeks ago, but I messed up the audio during filming. If you listened to the last episode, you know that. And so we're refilming today, and we're going to get this for you.
We got this.
We're going to do it right this time. So today we're talking about...
What's your media of the week, Cole?
That's the end. The weekly recap first. We got to talk about the weekly recap. Thank you. I always forget. So, what have you done this week? Any big? Well, you got some big.
I got some big something. Big something. I went to a Hozier concert last night.
Mm-hmm. Jealous.
Oh, it was so good, Cole. It was on a Tuesday night. Don't recommend concerts on Tuesdays. I feel very old. We didn't get back until 1:40, but it was amazing. My face was just the entire time, and everyone was just singing, and it was just such a good concert. I have been to 3 concerts this year, all of them very different, very different. This one was so relaxed, and it was outside, and everyone was so respectful.
So you went to Hozier, Cody Fry.
And then I went and saw Josh Turner.
Oh, yes.
He's a country singer.
Yes.
So 3 very different people that I all love. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Is that all you've done this week? Any other little details?
I had food poisoning twice this weekend.
That's lovely.
So, you know.
Kind of similar to that. She had food poisoning. I had the most random cold in the world.
Yeah.
It was like the most mundane cold I think I've ever had. My throat didn't hurt at all. It was literally just it was a head cold, I guess.
Ooh.
So it was just all sinuses and I couldn't breathe. But that was it. It felt like the weirdest cold ever. I think I might have had a little bit of body ache, but nothing bad.
Yeah.
So other than that,
what a way to start off.
what a way to start the week. I made cookies Monday. They're pumpkin. Had to get the fall. We have a white chocolate and a milk chocolate. The milk chocolate literally just tastes like a pancake. It is a pancake. I think that's it. Really, I haven't done much this week. I mowed the lawn.
Look at you go. Oh, you got a book?
This giant ass book I got from the library. Did you look at how much this book actually costs?
A lot of money.
$50. I'm glad I got this from the library.
Yeah.
It's a huge book. It's on sale right now on Amazon for $30 though.
Oh. See, I'm looking at this romance trilogy. Guys, I don't know what's going on. I'm really into romance books, and it's so odd for me.
People love a good romance.
It's the weather.
It is. It's the fall weather. Okay, so we'll get into this because I feel like it's not going to take as long as last time when we recorded because we have rankings, but like we already did the rankings. So maybe we'll just pull up the rankings we have and be like, that's why we said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it won't be as long, but there's still a lot of content here to look at.
Woo.
So we're going to get into it. We're talking about a very amazing TV show today.
So nice.
Over the Garden Wall, animated television miniseries. Amazing. Okay. I'm going to start with a little bit of introduction and background information just to get this rolling. Okay. So Over the Garden Wall is an animated television miniseries, like I said, that aired on Cartoon Network in November of 2014. The creator of the show, Patrick McHale, not to be confused with... Wait, Patrick McHale? Patrick McHale. Who's the guy from Glee?
I don't know. I don't watch Glee.
Patrick McHale. Who? Okay. I know I'm not crazy. Just sorry. Give me a second. Glee cast. Kevin McHale.
Oh.
Kevin McHale plays Artie. I was like, I know there's a McHale in Glee. Yeah, so don't confuse those two. Patrick and Kevin are different people. Are they related? I'm not getting into that now.
We'll look into the lore of the McHales
Yes,
later.
we'll look at that later. He had previously worked on other Cartoon Network shows such as The Marvelous Mrs. Adventures of Flapjack and Adventure Time.
Flapjack is a fever dream.
It really is a fever dream. I love that show so much. I love it.
It's something.
Like that, Adventure Time, Chowder.
Chowder.
My childhood right there. Adventure Time, they had that new spin-off come out. I did start watching it.
Oh, really?
It's really good.
Fiona and
Cake. It is really good. It's really good. McHale got the idea for the miniseries in 2004 and later pitched it to Cartoon Network executives in 2006, but they never actually greenlit the project until 2012, I think. I didn't write that down. But it was years later when they finally did it after he made the pilot, Tome of the Unknown.
So good.
Okay, so that was about like background information. This is like what the show's actually about now. It's on an adventure. Brothers Wirt and Greg get lost in the unknown, a strange forest adrift in time. As they attempt to find a way out of the unknown, they cross paths with a mysterious old woodsman and a bluebird named Beatrice. Just a little pulled right off of Wikipedia, short little whatnot. Just to talk about. So we're going to get into the plots of all the individual episodes, talk about little details from the episodes we like or whatnot, you know.
Episodes we don't like.
Yeah. So we're just going to go back and forth, trading off episodes, and yeah, you'll see.
You'll understand.
Okay. So episode 1 is titled The Old Grist Mill. Whilst trying to find their way home, the two brothers, Wirt and Greg, along with their unnamed frog, get lost in the woods. They meet a talking bird named Beatrice, like I said before, and then she quickly abandons them after the woodsman finds them. And she's like, oh, gotta go. The woodsman begins warning the brothers of the beast in the woods and takes them to his abandoned mill. While the boys discuss plans to leave and get home, they are tracked down by a monstrous creature that follows a trail of candy that Greg leaves. After destroying the mill, the creature turned out to be a deformed dog who ate a turtle, and the boys are sent on their way into the unknown. Oh yeah, I guess I have more stuff. So that was a good introduction to the story. Yeah, like I feel like it's a very good opening to what is to come.
It explains nothing, but it's
everything.
Good.
Okay, so just little things about this episode. This is the first introduction of rock facts into the show. And it is, every once in a while, Greg, he'll just be talking and then be like, say the most random, like,
Greg
sentence.
is a child.
A literal child.
He's a little cutie patootie.
Of course, yes, that's a perfect way to describe him. He'll just like throw out this random sentence, like a fact, and then at the end be like, that's a rock fact.
Yes, he has a rock with googly eyes and a face on it.
Mm-hmm. So the first rock fact we get is soaking a raisin in grape juice turns it into a grape. I mean, I could see it.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. And then the next thing I have for this episode, not even just this episode, it's like for the whole series, actually. The voice cast for this show, out of this world. Like, they have so many big names, not even just big names, like iconic names of people. Like Wirt, basically the main character, is played by Elijah Wood.
Love him.
Literally the Hobbit is who he is. And then the Woodsman is played by Christopher Lloyd. Like, these are some very big names in just this little show that ran for one series on Cartoon Network.
10 episodes.
10 episodes. I mean, 11 technically, but like,
meh.
Yeah. And then lastly for this, I just have, it's the perfect like autumnal fall soundtrack score. Like, it's the perfect fall vibe. I have back here the record on my wall. And if I don't know if you can tell from the sleeve of this record, it is like the perfect fall vibed album. It is amazing.
So you mentioned they have a nameless frog.
Oh, I did not.
And I'm going to read Cole's frog names that he pointed out.
Okay, yes. Okay, there's a big long list.
Yes.
Go through the brackets and then I'll
Okay. So, first off, they cannot decide on this poor frog's name for like the entire show until like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, so like what the show opens with is this.
Antelope. Guggenheim. My apologies. Albert. Salami. Giggly. Jumpy. Thomas. Tambourine. Leg-faced McCullen. Artichoke. Penguin. Pete. Steve.
No, stop right there. All those are just the beginning lines of the show, and then Greg ends it with, those are not good frog names.
Yes.
And so for the rest of of this episode, at least, I feel like we tried to keep track of the frog name throughout the show.
Throughout the show.
The 2 names that Greg actually calls this frog for this episode, at least, is Kitty.
Yes.
And Wart.
Yes. Wart is like at the very end. He's like, you know
Yes,
what?
the very like last.
Wart is a good name.
And then I think in episode 2, for a few episodes, they start calling him Wart Jr.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's episode 1. Episode 2 is called Hard Times at the Huskin Bee.
I think my favorite episode.
This episode is fall.
It is the most fall a fall could fall in this show.
In this fallen.
Yes.
So
if you've seen the show, you know.
You know.
Yeah. Take it away, Madeline.
All right. As the boys are trying to find their way home, Wart realizes they are even more lost. Greg helps a bluebird named Beatrice out of the bush. We talked about Beatrice in the first episode.
She comes back for this episode.
And she offers to take the boys to Adelaide of the pasture. Mm-hmm. She'll help them, and Adelaide will help them get back. Wart decides that they declines, and they end up in Pottsfield, a normal-looking town with pumpkin patches and cornfields. When they enter the town, Wart and Beatrice notice that the town feels kind of off. Suddenly, they hear music and then follow it to what looks like a costume party. Everyone has pumpkins on their head, dancing around a maple with a pumpkin on top. It gives
Midsummer.
It's
hate like that movie. Like a harvest midsummer.
Soon the gang gets caught for trespassing, and Enoch, the giant pumpkin maple, that's just what I'm calling him, sentences them to
pumpkin maple.
an hour of manual labor. And they end up digging graves after they like do some harvesting and like some regular things. He's like, all right, now go dig some graves. And they realize that they're digging up skeletons because
they weren't digging their own graves.
Yes.
They were digging someone else's.
In this episode, they thought they were digging their own graves.
Yes. They were like, why do you think they're having you do this? They're going to kill you. And you're literally digging your own grave.
No. They're just helping their friends get out of the ground. This whole town is skeletons just covered in pumpkins.
Yes. So they were digging up friends to come to Pottsfield.
The life of the party.
Yeah. Throughout the whole episode, they're always like, we have to leave. And they're like, nobody leaves Pottsfield.
Yeah. So
just little things where they're like hinting at what's
Enoch is like, are you sure you want to leave? And they're like, yeah, we're going to go. And he's like, well, we all end up here anyway.
You'll come back. His voice is great.
Oh, so
Love
good.
His voice.
So that's episode 2.
Okay, yes. Episode 3 is called Schooltown Follies. There's a pumpkin under my chair. I didn't realize that.
You knocked it over earlier.
No, I think I think Oat knocked this over the other day.
Odie.
Oh, I didn't. You brought this up.
Yeah.
I did this little hand stitch embroidery
Very
of
nice.
Wirt and Greg. It's not my best work, and I was gonna do the frog. It's not in focus, but I got scared of all the little details. So Maddie got me a little frog pin for my birthday, so I just put that on there.
I'm wearing overalls for my guy Greg.
I don't have anything that could be Wirt, but I'm wearing a frog shirt, so I guess I'm Mr. President.
They don't know that's his name.
Oh no, I'm Wirt Jr. Sorry.
How dare you?
It's not like it's his final name. Oh, did you see that? Wait, I couldn't be.
Is that your Halloween costume?
It's part of it. Oh, I hit the camera.
It's good. Wyatt's trying to get Matthew to do a couple's costume with him.
What are they gonna be?
Have you ever seen Tommy Boy?
No, I haven't, but I think I can confer what's going on. I'm sticking with my Jon Snow. Oh no, I said what my costume's gonna be.
We can just edit that part out.
That's fine. I'm gonna be Jon Snow for Halloween. I'm so excited. Okay, so episode 3, Schooltown Follies. After leaving Pottsfield, on their way to Adelaide of the Pasture's house, Beatrice makes a comment that Wirt is a pushover, leading to Wirt trying to make a point to Beatrice that, you know, he is a pushover. This leads them to come across a schoolhouse that is just for animals.
Yeah.
They're just teaching animals. Animals in clothing, though. Cute little animals in clothing.
That raccoon. Love the raccoon.
The deer.
The deer in the glasses.
Isn't there a bunny, too? I vaguely remember a rabbit.
There's a pig, a cat.
There has to be a rabbit of some sort.
There's probably a rabbit.
Yeah. This school is taught by Miss Langtree, a woman scorned by her missing lover, Jimmy Brown, as well. Oh, also, she's just also terrified, everybody is, because there is a gorilla on the loose.
Yes. That's important.
Very important. After Langtree's father, who is the owner of the school.
The dean?
Dean, I guess you can call him the dean. Yeah. He comes to the school and is like, stop what you're doing, because they were playing music.
Yeah.
He is heard saying that he's going to have to shut the school down due to the lack of funding, because, like, who's going to fund a school teaching animals?
Yeah.
Greg and Wirt organize a benefit concert to fund money for the school. At the concert, the gorilla shows up, and Wirt trips over himself and discovers that the gorilla was Jimmy Brown stuck in a gorilla costume from the circus.
Yeah, he was trying to get money.
To buy a ring?
Yeah. And she had to write that horrible song about the ABCs about him.
Hey,
poor guy.
I still listen to it.
Honestly, though,
Banger.
this poor man, all of a sudden this gorilla appears and no one thinks to look for him.
You know, we're in the middle of, like, we're going to assume it's like North American woods.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a gorilla. Yeah, that makes sense. No one's like, oh, what is this gorilla doing?
And the dad is so supportive of his daughter's dream.
The wildest dream in the world.
Yeah. Jeez.
Those animals can't learn a single thing, but they do know how to play a little tune.
They can play some music.
They can play some music. The only thing I have, like, detailed from this episode is I literally just wrote down potatoes and molasses.
Potatoes and molasses.
Which is the song that they were playing.
You want some
Potatoes
just
and molasses. Is the song that the father comes into. It is like the most annoying song in the world, but it gets stuck in your head so easily.
Highly recommend it.
I love the Latin version of the song. I prefer it. But, like,
yeah,
I just wrote down potatoes and molasses. How can you not? Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
So episode 4 is called Songs of the Dark Lantern. So we're back on the road again with the gang. They hitch a ride on a wagon and get thrown off in front of this creepy tavern. Beatrice is told to wait outside because bluebirds are bad luck. And while she tells the boys to get information on how to get to Adelaide.
I'm getting some fall vibe.
So the boys are trying to ask around and no one is giving them a direct answer. They just keep singing these songs. I think this episode probably had the most songs in it.
It had a lot.
So here are a couple of the songs before I continue. The beast is out there, and that gives a good description of this horrible beast that is going around. And this is the main point of, like, he's there throughout the whole series. Yeah,
this is kind of the episode where it switches focus from, like, oh, Wirt and Greg are, like, lost to, like, oh, there's something else going on in the woods.
The Highwayman and the courting song. And I'll come back to those. I just had to speak them before I forgot them.
I love the Highwayman.
I don't. So Wirt mentions the beast that is talked about in episode 1. And at the beginning of the episode on the wagon, how they get thrown off is the driver is convinced the beast is following him. So during the song, the beast is out there. They tell Wirt that the beast turns people into trees of oils to keep his lantern lit. Just like the woodsman from episode 1. While waiting for the boys outside, Beatrice notices something in the woods. They hear her scream and Wirt and Greg run outside. Wirt tries to save Beatrice but makes it worse. And they end up escaping from the woodsman. So this whole time they think the poor woodsman is the beast.
Yeah.
Because that's what that's kind of how the townspeople.
Yeah, they're like, he
introduced it.
He'll put him in
basically.
your wait. He'll put you in his lantern to burn, but the woodsman is the one with the lantern.
Yeah. So Wart's like, oh, it's the woodsman, which I would probably do that too.
Well, yeah, because they have like no context of like what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And like that song, when you really on first listen, you're like, this is just some random song. But like after watching the whole thing, you're like, oh, this is like, it basically foreshadows the entire series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the gang gets away on a horse.
Fred
Fred
the horse.
He's a talking horse
with lipstick.
Yes, with lipstick on. And we find out the woodsman, he's not the beast. So from episode 4 on, we know he is not the beast.
Yes, we know, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
So going forward, they still assume he's the beast.
So the song The Highwayman and the Courting Song, everyone in this tavern has a specific role in this community.
It's like they're the baker, the tailor, the innkeep. Like they have their specific role, and that's all they are.
So Wart, who's a high schooler, he's like trying to figure himself out in life, and he starts really like, I feel like his perspective changes a little in this episode on what he is and what's his role. They call him the pilgrim, the lover boy, and that's it. But he's like so confused because he's already has so much inner conflict that he's just like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and they were just like trying to assign him, like trying to figure out what he is.
Yeah.
To find out where he can fit, but he's just like, I'm just trying to leave.
I want to go home.
Please.
And Greg is eating
just
the
eating.
Entire time.
Him and the frog just in the corner chowing down. I'd do the same.
Honestly,
I would be Greg.
See, and I would be Wart. What am I in life?
What am I?
Is my
Can I
role?
just leave? Okay, so next, episode 5, directly following, we have Mad Love.
I love this episode.
So after leaving the inn, they take Fred the horse, and Beatrice takes Wirt and Greg and forces them to pretend to be the nephews of a wealthy tea manufacturer, Quincy Endicott. They do this in order to try to get money, specifically 2 cents.
Just 2 cents.
They're trying to get 2 cents so they can take the ferry across the river. Okay, so while Greg tries to distract Endicott along with Fred and the frog, they take them into another room. Wirt and Beatrice are trying to like find 2 cents, because instead of being like, hey, can we have 2 cents? They're like, he's rich. He's got to have 2 cents laying around here somewhere.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to steal 2 cents out of anywhere they can. While that's going on, while Greg is distracting him, Endicott tells them that he saw a ghost in his house, and it was a beautiful woman, and he like instantly fell in love with this ghost.
Head over heels.
So while that's all going on with the ghost, Beatrice tells Wirt, while they're trying to steal money, she actually used to be a human, and she got turned into a bluebird, and that's why she's going to Adelaide's house, so she can turn back into a human. So after the whole group reunites, they discover that the ghost Endicott saw was actually a real woman and was Endicott's tea manufacturer rival. I didn't look up her name again. I think it's Gray.
Yeah, it's Gray.
It's Gray? Oh, you're just saying that. Okay. Okay. So after, they give Greg 2 cents.
Yeah.
They give him 2 cents for like helping out, like
figuring it out, basically.
Yeah. And to which he immediately takes those 2 cents and throws it in a fountain, stating, I've got no sense at all.
Uncle Endicott picked me all wrong.
I got no sense. No sense at all.
And I mean, like, why didn't they also then just get into the fountain? There are so
much money in there.
Yeah.
And they needed 2 cents to cross the river. 2 cents for all of them?
Or 2 cents each.
Yeah,
they did not specify this at all.
No, they did not. Okay. The only thing I have for this episode is so this is at the very end of the episode after they figure out that they're not ghosts. They each of the Endicott and Gray thought each other were ghosts, and they're like, "Oh, that ghost I saw wasn't a ghost. It was my business competitor." Makes out. They just instantly start making out. What
What a romance.
What a great romance. Better than Twilight.
Love story of the ages.
For real.
Uncle Endicott and possibly Gray.
Possibly Gray. Okay, you go. I need to look up her name.
Okay, so episode 6 is called Lullaby in Frogland.
Again, one of my favorites.
This one's really good too. Okay, so I'm just going to say that every time we talk about an episode until we get into this certain one, and then I hate that one. But that's fine. So this episode is called A Lullaby in Frogland. Wart, Greg, and Beatrice are on a boat called Frogland Ferry.
Her name is Gray.
Oh,
Marguerite
really?
Gray.
Marguerite.
Yes. She's played by Bibi Nurith.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they sneak on a boat called Frogland Ferry. Oh, and it just says they sneak on because Greg threw the money away. I had to put that on there a couple times. They are soon caught and end up running around the ferry. They knock over this poor... Oh, one thing. All the people on this boat are frogs.
The Frogland Ferry, they are frogs.
And Greg is concerned because his frog has no clothes. And at this point...
But all these other frogs, they are wearing clothes. They're like fully humanified.
So Greg is like, Mr. President doesn't have socks because that's his name.
Yeah, they start calling him George Washington or Mr. President in this episode.
Yes. And he's like, Wart, our frog doesn't have socks. And he's like, he's your frog. He's not my frog. So this whole time, so just remember that.
Just keep that in mind.
So they run into this closet to escape the police.
But before they run into this closet, they're running around on the boat, making a little havoc.
Yeah.
They bump into a lady carrying her frog babies, tadpoles, knock them over. They all start stepping on these tadpoles. They're stomping on babies on this boat.
This is the second time they've stepped on something and committed murder.
What was the first time?
The pumpkins.
Oh my gosh.
So
Silent for a few seconds.
where am I?
George Washington.
Oh, yes.
Oh wait, no. Before that, they dress. Then they dress up.
Oh, yes. In the episode before, when Beatrice and Wart are just trying to find money, they get stuck, and Wart tells Beatrice, "I play the clarinet."
Yes.
So
they're both confessing. She's a human.
She's human.
He plays the clarinet.
He plays the clarinet and writes poetry.
Yes, that's what they confessed.
So the closet they snuck into had a bunch of band uniforms and instruments, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Wart, you can play the clarinet." So Wart ends up with Mr. President on his shoulders, and they go out. Greg has a little drum on his face, and his eyes pop through.
They pop through one at a time. They go pop, pop.
It's so freaking cute. I'm obsessed with Greg.
Love it.
And they join the band, and Greg is just pounding his face with the drum mallet.
Ow.
And Greg is playing. No, Wart is playing the clarinet, even though
he's playing a bassoon.
A bassoon. My apologies. And the cops aren't buying it. They're like,
no,
what's going on?
Yeah.
This is wrong. So then Mr. President starts singing. This man's got some pipes.
Beautiful voice.
Beautiful. And the police everyone's cheering, and the police are going to stop it. And they're like, no, don't stop.
Because their band cloak falls off, and it's revealed that it's literally Greg Wart and the frog.
Yeah.
In a trench coat.
Yeah. So when the boat reaches land, the frogs forget about the boys, and Mr. President, he's getting a record deal.
Yeah, they're like, we're signing you.
Done deal,
buddy. Did he get some socks?
He did not get socks.
Oh, I thought he was wearing socks in that scene.
No. No one dressed this poor frog. He was not ready.
Sad.
And Greg thinks that maybe George Washington is better off with the other frogs.
Yes.
So they're all sleeping in mud because, they're frogs and that's how they stay warm. And Beatrice flies away in the middle of the night.
Yes, leaving Greg and Wart in the mud.
And Wart notices her leave.
This is where it really starts getting hitting.
So Beatrice is going to Adelaide of the pastor's house.
Yes.
And she's like, listen, I can no longer bring these boys to you. They're just too kind and they just need to get home.
Yeah, she starts feeling bad.
And Adelaide is like, well, then good luck turning your family back into humans.
Oh.
Because she needed these special scissors. I don't know why that came out like that. Special scissors.
This is what they looked like. They're actually embroidery scissors. So.
Yes. So Wart and Greg break in and hear her say this. And they're like, what the heck, Beatrice?
You're just going to turn us
You're
over?
betraying us. Well, not Greg. Greg doesn't care.
Greg's just vibing.
He's there. So Adelaide literally starts tangling these boys up in yarn, and Beatrice opens the window and she turns to dust.
She literally melts like the Wicked Witch of the West.
She's gone. Mm-hmm. And the boys escape, leaving Beatrice behind.
Don't blame them though. Like,
I don't blame them, but at the same time, I know they probably hurt her.
Yes. She was doing some
I'd be
tricky
conflicted.
business.
And guess who appears? Guess who appears? George Washington.
Oh, yeah. He came back.
He came back to
them.
because
Mr. President.
he loved Greg. All right.
Okay. Next, episode 7, the ringing of the bell following the events at Adelaide's house. So after running from Beatrice, Wirt and Greg run into the woodsman, to which he warns them that the beast is ready to claim them and take them into the unknown. They run from him because they still think they still think he is the beast. So they're like, get away from me, crazy man.
Why are you telling us you're evil man?
Yeah, exactly. And so they stumble upon a cabin that is home to Lorna and Auntie Whispers.
Creepy.
Auntie Whispers controls Lorna by ringing a bell and saying, the ringing of the bell commands it. She says she's doing this to keep Lorna from becoming wicked. To which Auntie Whispers goes to bed. She tells Lorna, clean up this mess, and Wirt's helping her fall in love, cleaning
So
and mopping
cute.
the
They
floors.
got a cute little song going on.
Yeah. The pipes on Elijah Wood. He can hit them high notes.
Here we are.
And while that's going on, Greg's frog steals away into Auntie Whisper's chambers and
Yeah, Greg's just goofing off.
Greg's gooping
Gooping off.
They go to Auntie Whisper's room and the frog swallows the bell. Just straight up
Of course.
swallows the bell and runs, to which it wakes up Auntie Whispers and chases them and is warning them to stay away from Lorna.
Yeah.
To which they run into Lorna's room, to which they find Lorna in a nightmaric demonic state. And they run away out the window into like a pond. And Wirt uses the bell, which is inside the frog, to cast the evil spirit out of Lorna.
Because the bell commands you.
Because the bell commands it. And they live happily ever after. Lorna and Auntie Whispers, at least.
Who plays Auntie Whispers?
Oh, yeah. Auntie Whispers, played by Tim Curry.
Whoa.
Sorry if that turned off. He was in It, Home Alone 2, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Scary Movie 2. He is such a star-studded guy. Love him.
What a cool dude. One of my favorite lines from the series is, we're going to burgle your turds.
Because this house is full of those black turtles, which the dog ate from episode 1.
And that's what Auntie Whispers eats. And she's like, hey, watch out for my sister, Adelaide. And they're like, by the way, she's dead now.
Wait, so why does the dog turn into like a nightmare demonic
Because I think it had some of the oil on it.
But like, the turtles are black.
Yeah? Maybe that's it.
But like, why is Auntie Whispers not like the dog with the eyes?
Okay, but have you seen Auntie Whispers?
Well, yeah, but like, the dog had like the eyes of the beast, basically. Why doesn't Auntie Whispers? Anyway, we're getting into some other stuff. Next.
Will you do what I want you to do? There we go.
What you looking at?
Why is the dog the way the dog is?
That's all you looked up.
I didn't get to look it up.
Oh.
Because I hit the caps lock and it was annoying me. So episode 8 is
I just said this is my least favorite episode. I'm just saying.
It's called Babes in the Wood. So yes, this is all I put. This is my least favorite episode. I'm just saying. Wirt has given up. He's done.
Basically.
And he tells Greg he can be in charge. Greg is a small child. Wirt is in high school. They're only half brothers. Like, Wirt makes that known. Like, he's not my full brother. And Wirt just decides to lay down and take a nap. Because he's done. He's tired.
Yeah.
So Greg, being the cutie that he is, puts leaves over his brother to keep him warm. And then he gets himself a little pile of leaves. And George Washington gets a single leaf. And then we are thrown into the mind of Greg.
Greg's dream.
Greg's dream annoys me.
It is quite annoying. It is also my least favorite episode. I think they could have used it for something better.
Yeah.
I know they really wanted to do a Greg theme, like, centric episode. I don't think they did it in the best way.
Yeah.
Looking back and seeing, like, the impact on the story, it makes sense. But I just feel like it could have been done better.
Yeah.
It's still a good episode, though.
The art style is very cute, and
Yeah, that's something I forgot I wanted to say. This episode 8, Babes in the Woods, and also episode 4.
episode 4.
4. Yeah, 4. The Dark Lantern. What is it? Songs of the Dark Lantern. They're both very inspired by like old, like original, like 1950s cartoons, like Betty Boop. That kind of era of cartoons is heavily inspiring to this kind of stuff. Like it has a very big old animation feel to it, especially like the old North Wind scene and stuff.
Yeah.
And just like all the songs. And I will say, the one thing from this episode 8, that I really enjoy is when Greg first falls asleep, he wakes up in this dream state. And it's a song singing, and it's these 3 kids, and like, we're the welcome committee.
Welcome committee.
And then there's another group, and it's like 3 angels, and like, we're the other welcome committee. And then there's the hippopotamus, giraffe, and monkey committee. And Greg is like, is there anybody else I should know about? And then it cuts to this like giant gray pug-looking dog creature that's just like with ominous music, like, and he's like, okay. And then just move along. I laugh every time I see that. That's the only thing from this episode I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's not a bad episode. It's
No.
just not for me. And I think, does it end with, does your episode go with Greg going? No, it doesn't. Okay, so at the end of this episode, we see Greg leave with the beast.
Yes, because I guess we should kind of like just give a short little rundown of what happens in the Dreamland. Like, Greg is there, and then he bumps into a gate, and it unleashes the Old North Wind. He defeats the Old North Wind, and then he meets the Queen of Cloud City, who is like, "Oh, you've helped us. We can help you now."
Yeah,
and he's like, "I want to get me and my brother Wirt out of here," and she's like, "Oh, can't do Wirt. He's already taken by the beast."
Yeah. So the beast is like, well, I mean, if you come with me, I can help Wirt.
Yes, I can take you instead of Wirt, and it's an even trade.
So Greg, being this small child, is like, oh, okay, I'll go with you.
Just trying to help his big brother
While
out.
freaking Wirt is just asleep. And that's the end of this episode.
Is it?
Or Greg is doing some tasks.
No, I think at the very end of this episode or is it the next episode?
It's the next episode.
Are you sure? Is this when he wakes up and falls in the river?
No, that's episode 10. Because the next episode is...
No, because episode 10's with him waking up. Oh, it's the end of episode 9, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So episode 9, now that I've confused myself, is called Into the Unknown, not Into the Woods. Sorry. Has nothing to do with the musical. Okay, so we open into this world that is not the unknown, even though it's called Into the Unknown, which, okay, whatever.
Into the unknown.
We see Wirt is in a room of a house, and it's like...
I'm sorry.
The way I worded it?
In a room, in a house.
It was just... It's like the whole time they've been in the woods, like opening to Wirt in a house, it's like, this is different.
Yeah. So confused.
Yes. The vibes of this, like, are very 80s. Like, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to take place in, like, the 80s. And we see Wirt. He had just finished making a cassette tape that he was planning to give to his crush, Sarah, that he previously talked about in episode 5. He quickly makes a costume out of a Santa hat, which he cuts the white part off and just has the red part, and a cloak that is not a marching cloak. It is a Civil War nursing cloak.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. We talked about that briefly in the last episode, so I had to get that right.
The last time we did this episode.
Yes. Greg takes the tape and gives it to Sarah, to Wirt's dismay. They go to the party that Sarah is going to in order to try to get the tape back, but he runs into Jason Funderburker and Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
And they're planning on going to the graveyard with a few friends just to have because I don't think we've mentioned this before. It is Halloween. This takes place on Halloween. That is why Greg has his little teapot on his
He's
head.
an elephant.
He's an elephant. Because the whole start of the series, you're like, why the hell does this boy have a teapot on his head?
Yeah.
And then you just kind of get used to it and you're like, oh, it's just Greg.
That's just how he is.
It's literally their Halloween costumes. He's an elephant and Wirt is
A gnome?
a gnome. They never confirm what he is.
I'm just going to go with he's a gnome.
That's what it looks like. So Wirt and Greg follow them to watch them from behind some graves, and a cop catches them in the graveyard. One of my favorite running jokes from this episode is the cop. He's there from the very start. He's like, "Stop running!" He's like, "Just kidding. Happy Halloween." And then when Wirt and Greg first get to the graveyard, they're like, "Is this a witches' gathering?" Because it's just like a bunch of teenagers like circling around graves. So it's like, huh. And so when the cop gets there, he's like, "What is this? A witches' gathering?" Just kidding. Happy Halloween.
But he's like, yeah, no, get out of the
Yeah,
cemetery.
get out. What are you doing? Leave. And so the kids are like, "Oh, it's a cop. We gotta run."
Yeah.
And so everybody runs towards the exit.
Which is smart.
Smart. Wirt and Greg run towards the wall. They're cornered, and the cop's like, "What are you doing? You need to leave." And they climb the wall, and then Wirt sees that Jason Funderburker and Sarah have found the tape in her pocket, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I just choked on my own words." Sorry about that. I got so excited. They found the tape and like, "Let's go listen to this." And Wirt is like in horror. He's horrified. To which they jump over the wall, over the garden wall. And Greg finds his frog. They find a frog over the wall.
Yes, because this whole episode, Greg has been like,
Yes.
hey,
Let's go find a frog.
let's go frog hunting. You promised.
Mm-hmm.
And Wirt is like, no,
we don't. Shut up.
go away.
So they jump the wall. Greg finds his frog, and they find themselves on a train track. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "What? Oh." And then a train comes, and they have to jump out of the way, to which they plunge into a river and fall asleep.
And that's the end of episode 9.
That is the end of episode 9. I do have written down that this episode has the best songs. The song when the train, when they're on the train tracks, Old Black Train. Mm-hmm. So good. Such a good song. Love it.
So on the start of episode 10, Wirt is in a lake.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he gets saved by a fish that's fishing and Beatrice.
Wait, no. At the episode 8, that is true. Wirt wakes up and is like trying to find Greg, and then he falls into the river, and then he's pulled out at the beginning of episode 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where is it? I had it pulled up. There it is.
How y'all guys doing?
Okay. So, Beatrice is now worried about the boys because she's like, oh, crap.
I guess I care about them now.
I kind of like them. Greg is performing meaningless tasks for the beasts. Mm-hmm. And
Jason Funderburker.
the frog.
Last episode, when we tried to film this last time, I said I had an impression to do for you, and I never did it.
I can't wait.
I'll do it at the end of this.
Okay.
I gotta get ready.
So, Wirt and Beatrice are trying to find Greg. Meanwhile, the woodsman's journey into the forest. He journeys into the forest at sunset in search of the Edelwood tree. He finds Greg in the process of being turned into a tree by the beast.
Yeah, I don't think we ever explained that.
Didn't.
So the lantern the woodsman has, he has to grind up a certain tree called an Edelwood tree because it makes like black Edelwood oil. And this is where we find out that the trees are actually souls that got lost in the unknown.
Yeah.
They got turned into trees.
So, little Greggy boy is like, I'll sacrifice myself to save Wirt.
Which we knew he wasn't going to be saving Wirt.
No.
He was just
Prepping himself basically for death.
Yes.
So the woodsman is terrified of the beast. And at this point, Wirt is like, this lantern is way more important to the beast than
the woodsman.
To the woodsman.
Because up until this point, I can't speak. Oh my gosh. We have believed that the lantern holds the soul of the woodsman's daughter. Because the beast was like, your daughter might be gone, but I can keep her soul in this lantern for you.
You just have to keep it lit.
Just keep it lit with the oil from the Edelwood trees.
So the beast then tries to make a deal with Wart, saying, I can do the same thing with your brother and put his soul in there. So then Wart is like, this doesn't seem right.
That's
so this
a bad
is like
deal.
The first episode where Wart is like using his brain, basically.
Yeah.
And actually being a good brother.
Not true. In episode 7, he uses the bell.
I guess that's
he did
true.
Use his brain there.
No, and he did say Beatrice, so I take that back.
There's been few instances where he's shown some like, oh, he's got some knowledge.
I can use this brain. And he's like, what if I just blew this out? You'd be gone. So then the beast tries to intimidate him and says, aren't you afraid of the dark? And everything becomes pitch black. And Wart's like, aren't you? And threatens to.
His voice cracks. You forgot the voice crack. Aren't you? Aren't you?
So he's about to blow out the lantern. And the beast is like, no. Wait, hold on.
Basically proving that it is his soul in the lantern.
Yes. And this whole time, we've just seen the beast as like this black shadow. And then in this episode, we do get to see the beast. And it looks like he's just made up of a ton of lost souls.
Like faces. A bunch of faces.
Kind of icky.
Trypophobia warning.
Blech. So then the woodsman gets the lantern back. And he's looking at the beast like, you've been lying to me all these years.
I got played.
Done did do my boy dirty. And I'm so tired. I apologize. I don't talk like that ever.
It's okay. I was up till 3 a.m. this morning. I'm tired too.
And he blows out the lantern because he's like, forget this. I'm done.
Yeah.
So then everyone's safe. Turns out Wart took the scissors from
From Adelaide's house. These scissors.
And is like, here you go, Beatrice. I got these for you.
She's like, you had them this whole time?
And you didn't tell me? So then we are brought back to the real world. And
the boys are pulled out of the river.
Yes, they are in an ambulance now. And
with the frog.
The
frog has an oxygen mask too.
And he still has the bell in his tummy. And Greg makes sure everyone knows. And jiggles his little frog.
And you see the bell light up in his tummy.
Yes.
Is that it for episode 10?
Oh. After being taken by an ambulance to the hospital, Wart regains consciousness and finds out that his friends and Sarah are present. Sarah tells Wart that she didn't listen to this cassette tape that he made for her because she doesn't own a cassette player. Greg, giving details on his adventures in the unknown to those around him, shakes his pet frog, who rings and glows, indicating that Auntie Whisperer's magical bell is still inside him. Wart and Greg's journey into the unknown is not their imagination. In the unknown, the melancholy woodsman sits on his porch and is happily surprised when his daughter appears, having been restored back to life.
Is that? I don't know if that's true though. I don't know if I believe
that. We can get into your theories in a second. Let me finish this. The other inhabitants of the unknown appear to be living pleasant lives. Beatrice and her family are shown back in their human forms.
Eating dirt.
They
were eating dirt. But that's what they called it.
And the dog from episode 1 turns out to be Beatrice's dog.
Beatrice's dog. Cute dog.
And Greg has to return his rock back to Miss Daniel's garden because he stole it. And that is the end.
Well, no, you forgot. We figure out that Enoch, the pumpkin maple guy, he was not actually a pumpkin. He was a black cat.
Oh, yeah.
A black cat pops out of the pumpkin and is like, oh.
So that is Over the Garden Wall.
Yes.
Now tell me your theories.
Well, first we have to talk about the pilot.
Oh, yes.
I do have a rundown of the pilot, which is Tome of the Unknown, Harvest Melody. Okay. So this is kind of going to rehash some of the beginning content from this. In the forest, brothers Wirt and Gregory walk along with Bluebird Beatrice on their way to the big city in search of a book called the Tome of the Unknown, which holds the knowledge of every lost item in the unknown. Greg wanders off and finds a car entirely made out of vegetables, even though it's made out of a watermelon. And also a man completely made out of vegetables, which I'm pretty sure he's also made out of watermelon and a pumpkin.
Yep.
John Crops.
Love him.
Amazing name.
I love John Crops.
John Crops, who wallows in his loneliness.
Same.
They offer to drive him to the city in his car.
Yeah.
They offer to drive him in his car to the city, which I'm sure he could have done it by himself. He didn't need them. To which a murder of crows attacks them on their drive into the city, causing them to crash. But hey, they crashed into the city.
Which is just a gazebo.
It's a gazebo with a few little vegetable people walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now in the city, Wirt tries to fix the car. Greg wanders off with the crows, and then Crops tries to find love around the gazebo.
He's a singing.
He's starting to sing, trying to get a crowd. Wirt gets the car started, runs into a scarecrow, which leads all the crows to come back, as well as giant turkeys and an alligator.
I don't get the alligator.
I think it's just random.
Yeah.
They all start to terrorize the town and like whatnot, you know.
They do eat those vegetables.
Yes, giant animal things. They attempt to flee, but they get cornered by all these creatures. And Greg wanders off into the corn because they're like surrounded by corn.
As
fields.
he does. It's
Yes.
basically Watsika.
It's basically Watsika, a gazebo surrounded by corn. They hear Greg screaming bloody murder out in the
Poor
corn.
man.
They go to find him. He is screaming because Greg found a giant goose.
He's so excited about this
Yes.
goose.
His screams, happy screams, turns out.
Mm-hmm.
It also scares all the other animals away, and they ride off on the giant goose.
Yep.
That is the pilot for Over the Garden Wall. Tome of the Unknown. Harvest Melody.
So before you start on your theories, I
Okay.
looked up what people have said about the dog.
Okay.
And this is what it says. And this is like multiple things. The dog is a minor character in the cartoon Over the Garden Wall, serving as the main antagonist of the first episode, the Old Grist Mill. He is Beatrice's former pet that became demonic due to swallowing a black turtle. That's it.
That's it?
Nothing else.
Okay. So are we just supposed to assume that Auntie Whispers is demonic? Because
She looks demonic.
she does, but like she's nice. Which was supposed to be like the whole like plot
Don't
twist
judge
of
a
the
book by the
episode.
cover.
Yeah. But like, do you think Lorna ate a turtle and that's why she had that
Maybe.
demon?
Maybe Auntie Whispers is just immune to the turtles.
Maybe. She's a witch.
That's
'Cause
true.
her sister is Adelaide.
Yeah.
The kind woman of the wood. Okay, so now
Wrong-o.
I have three like big theories and maybe some small ones if I can recall them. So
Least favorite theory.
I know, I had these hidden off of our Google Doc that we shared so I could like surprise Maddie with these theories, but now the shock's gone because we already filmed this episode once. So we'll just whatever. Okay. After finishing the show, it kind of leaves you with some questions. They don't like tie up everything neatly in a bow. Those questions being, was it all real? Where were they? What did it all mean? As long as many other questions. This has led fans to theorize the true meaning of the show and what actually happened in it. So starting, I'm not going to go in order because the first one is the biggest one. We have the Queen of Cloud City is the Beast. So as we said earlier, the Queen of Cloud City is talking to Greg and is like, hey, we can't save Wirt with you. He's already taken by the Beast.
Yeah.
We can't do all that, which leads to being like, the whole dream Greg had was created by the Beast to try to pull him away from Wirt.
Yeah.
So at the very end, he's just like making all this dream stuff for Greg, making it interesting for him. And then at the end, the Queen of Cloud City says that and basically tries to pull him away from Wirt. And it works because at the very end we see Greg is walking away with the Beast. So it is heavily implied. I'm not sure if it's actually like confirmed, but I'm pretty sure most people do believe that it is what is actually happening, is that the Beast made all this up to get Greg.
Which, I mean, it makes sense.
Yes.
It just makes me sad.
Yeah, it does. It's very sad.
Poor Gregory.
But I'm pretty sure it's basically canon that was the
Yeah.
Beast doing that. Next up, we have portrayal of death, that the whole show is basically one big portrayal of death. So there are many different connections to death by the end of the series, the Beast being the personification of death itself, basically. the song "The Old Black Train," which plays in episode 9 after they fall off the wall. If you listen to the lyrics, it is basically depicting and symbolizing that an old black train is death coming to get you and pick you up when it's your time. And then the entirety of Pottsfield, it is literally a town of dead people
Covered in pumpkins.
There's also so many more that leads to the theory that this is all, the unknown is like
Purgatory.
a purgatory state in between life and death. Because Wirt and Greg do come back. Maybe. So it's not like it is like the afterlife, but it's somewhere between the afterlife and living.
Yeah.
So lastly, we have kind of the biggest theory that I did not know anything about this before doing research for this podcast episode, but I like heavily believe now. And I hate that I believe it, but it just makes sense. It makes sense. Okay. So the entirety of the show Over the Garden Wall takes place from the perspective of Wirt. There are heavy tones of his like feelings and regrets of not taking better care of Greg. Cause like he, at the very beginning of the series, he blames what happened at the mill with the woodsman on Greg, saying it was all his fault. And the woodsman's like, you're the older brother. You have to take responsibility for this. It's not Greg's fault. It's yours. So sad. But like, kind of true. Greg is literally a child. Probably, what is he? I don't think they ever say their specific ages, but I want to say probably like 8, 7.
I think he is younger than 10.
Yeah, he's definitely not older than 10.
Well, they do say that Wirt is in high school.
Yes, Wirt is. I want to guess he's probably like a freshman.
Yeah.
'Cause he's still pretty young. So maybe like 14-ish. And I'm going to say Greg is like probably 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. So like, yeah, it is not on Greg for being responsible for a giant wolf destroying a mill. So there's that. And then after the beast takes Greg.
Yeah.
Wirt's like, I should have watched over him better. I gave up and let the beast take my younger brother. It's all on me. So it's showing his perspective and his feelings and regrets throughout the series. And after being brought to the hospital, after they get saved, the theme of the show is called Into the Unknown, starts playing, and there's lyrics that state the loveliest lie of all, or the loveliest lies of all, however. And this could symbolize Wirt lying to himself that Greg actually did not survive the fall over the wall. And he's imagining Greg in the hospital with him, because Greg is standing. He's not in a hospital bed after being woken up. He's fully awake with his frog, shaking the frog with the bell. And that could explain why there's still a bell in the frog, because Wirt is remembering what happened in the unknown, when really all that happened inside of his head after he fell into the river.
I hate this theory.
I hate it too.
But it makes so much sense. And like, if you look at the episodes and how Wirt's relationship with Greg changes, it kind of feels like he's going through the stages of grief in each episode. Mm-hmm.
It's the detailing for the show is amazing. Not as good as the detailing for Game of Thrones. Yeah, those are my theories. Oh, wait, what was the one theory I wanted to talk about?
You were going to do an impression.
Oh.
That was amazing. That is what our president sounds like.
I've been trying to...
Oh, wait! Your name!
At the very end, when Greg is in the Edelwood tree, Wirt is trying to save him. He's like, come on, stay with me. We have to get Jason Funderburker home.
So, Wirt's like nemesis is this man named Jason Thunderburger. And that's who Greg names his frog after.
The only reason they're arch enemies is because Jason also has a crush on Sarah and tries to date her, while Wirt is just trying to do the same.
Yeah.
Jason is basically just a bystander at this point, and Wirt's like, I hate you.
How dare you?
Hey, Sarah.
And that's what he sounds like.
But I've been working on my frog impression for so long.
That was so good.
I could do better than that, though. I can do better.
All right. I trust you.
So we're going to kind of get into these rankings, even though we already did them. So let's see. Oh, I should probably start recording my screen. That would be helpful. I have to remember how to work my computer. Do you have any other little tidbits to talk about this show, Maddie? Any favorites of sorts?
So the song from episode Ferry Ride to Frogland, it's probably my favorite song.
Which one? Over the Garden Wall or
It's not
Send Me a Peach? Oh, Adelaide Parade.
Yeah. No, it's not Adelaide Parade. It's the one that the frog sings.
Oh, they're
George Washington.
That's Over the Garden Wall. That's what it's called.
Yeah. I really love that song. The artwork is just so pretty, and it is definitely meant for fall. You can watch it on Hulu.
Yes, it got taken off of HBO Max recently. Max.
So sad. We have candles.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about these candles. I have some pictures to put up.
I found these off TikTok. It's called the Velveteen Rabbit Candle Company. Not sponsored by them, but check them out because it is so cute. The labels and stuff are just really nice, and they smell really good. This one's called Greg's Rock Facts, and it's got a little picture of Greg in his elephant costume. And it's harvest treats and molasses. So it smells like apple cider, donuts, cinnamon, vanilla, tonka beans, and candy pockets. Because Greg carries
pockets full of candy.
Greg carries pockets.
Greg carries
so also, since they told us it was Halloween, it makes sense why he has candy in his pockets.
Yeah, he's got candy.
Yeah.
Old Lady Daniels, I believe, is the one that gave him the candy.
Yes, because he did yard work, even though he didn't have to. And I don't know how much yard work he actually did.
I want to smell these.
The next one is called Pottsfield, and it's got a picture of Enoch on it, and it smells like cream custard, caramel, citrus, vanilla, and pumpkins.
Oh, I dropped a candle.
Not a candle. It was a fake one, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not real. Oh, my snot. Oh, my God. That's so nasty. I like that one. Lastly, we have Wort and Poetry. It's also called Autumn Night. The ingredients are cinnamon, clove, apples, and the unknown forest. I think this one's my favorite.
It stopped recording.
No! I'm gonna hurt
like,
somebody.
it just stopped as you were giving it a big whiff.
Good. Okay. I do believe this one's my favorite. It does have, it's very me-coated. It's very similar. Not really to... I have this candle from Walmart, Better Home and Gardens, red apple and cedar. It smells of red apple, bergamot, peach, very random, lavender leaves, sequoia, and white cedar scent notes. Okay, not that similar, but they give the same vibe.
Yeah. It's definitely got your vibe on it.
Yes, the vibe of me. This is what my apartment smelled like.
I believe it.
Okay.
Hey, your house doesn't smell like onions anymore.
Thank you. It did?
Yeah.
Blame my wife. Oh my gosh. Janie has been putting out red onions, just scattering them. I think there were some out there earlier. There's some right there. She's been putting red onions everywhere because they absorb the toxins that are in the air. I'll let her do what she wants. I don't know. She showed me a video of her this morning. She was chewing a spoonful of garlic and honey. She's nasty.
I'm closing my laptop now.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's do...
Okay, so here we have our ranking that's already complete because we did this. So we can kind of just go through and talk about why we ranked it. So we'll start in C.
Episode 8.
Classic tier lists, S, A, B, C, D. We have nothing in C, starting in C. Okay.
My least favorite episode is episode
Our
8.
least favorite.
Yes.
Which is episode 8, Babes in the Wood, which is
Womp.
the Greg episode. We've already stated why we didn't really like it.
Yes.
I feel like it just didn't really fit the story that well. It does make sense when you know that it was the Beast doing all of it. But it just... It could have been better.
Yeah. Row B, we have the Old Grist Mill, songs,
Episode 1.
The Dark Lantern,
Episode 4.
and The Unknown.
Episode 10. Okay, this is what I'll say. Every episode after episode 8 and C, really good. Amazing.
Yes.
It's really just... For me, it really just comes down to vibes.
Yeah.
These are very much, I feel story-driven episodes. Because a lot of the other episodes are they can be their own individual. You can just watch one. But these, you kind of have to... Well, episode 1, whatever.
Yeah.
But Songs of the Dark Lantern and the Unknown, you kind of have to know the story of what's going on to kind of understand them fully.
And row 8, we have Schooltown Follies, The Ringing of the Bell, Mad Love,
Into the Unknown. Not the unknown, into the unknown.
Tome of the Unknown.
Yes.
So we put Mad Love there because I just love Uncle Endicott a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Tome of the Unknown pilot. It's a cute little story.
It is cute.
Same with Schooltown Follies. Those two are just like really cute stories.
Into the Unknown, it was just so good and it was so different from the rest of it.
Yes, on your first watch of the series, when you first watch this, you're like, what is going on?
I watched this all 10 episodes, 8 o'clock at night. And I just remember going to episode 9 and being like,
what is happening?
What is happening?
They messed up the order.
This
that's
is so
something we
confusing.
didn't mention about this. You can watch this show in like less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
There's 10 episodes, 11 if you count the pilot, which is on YouTube. 11 episodes, 10 or 11 minutes, 10 episodes. You can watch this in a day at least. Like it is so
half
quick.
a day.
Yeah.
It's so short, but the story is worth it.
Amazing.
Row,
Like I think I've seen this whole show like at least 6 times at this point.
I've watched it 4. Row S, Hard Times at the Huskin Bee and Lullaby in Frogland.
The best episodes.
They really are.
They're so good.
Greg with the drum. Love him.
Episode 6, that one is one of my favorites solely because of like the songs. The songs in that episode are so good.
Yeah.
But also episode 2, that one is the best episode of this entire series. Hands down. It has like the perfect fall vibe.
It does. The first scene is just nice little pictures of the forest, leaves and turkeys and beautiful.
It's literally like the most perfect aesthetic fall vibe. There's a cricket chirping around on the forest floor, some turkeys, there's some geese flying. It is amazing. Like if you want to just watch one episode to get the vibe of this show, watch episode 2, Hard Time at the Huskin Bee. So good.
So good.
So that was our ranking
for the episodes.
For the episodes. I have to save these again because I deleted them. Oh. Okay. Next up, we ranked the characters from the show. So we'll get into this.
Oh, did you find a different one? Or is it all of them still? It is.
Yeah, okay. So we'll start in column D. So in column D, we have Adelaide of the Pasture, that nasty bitch. Sorry. And then we also have the Old North Wind.
And the Baby North Winds.
And the Baby North Winds. I don't know. They're just like little guys that walked out. Yeah. Just like classic villains from the series, basically. Yeah. Just like stupid. Would you like to take row C, Maddie?
And row C has all the people from the episode 4.
Is it all? Yeah. No.
And some of the dream character. It's got Cole's sad little dog.
So we have some of these are the people from the tavern. And then we have Beatrice's dog that was like demonic. This is what I was talking about earlier when it cuts to Greg and he's like, what's the other? Is there any others? And it cuts to this guy just going, and he's like, okay. Love it. And then, we have another guy from the tavern.
It's the butcher.
I forgot to put him over here. We have the kids from the school. The animals.
There is the rabbit.
Rabbit, pig. Is that a cat?
Yeah, it's a cat.
And then we have the characters from Greg's Dream. These are the committees. And then Jason Funderburker and Egg Girl. She doesn't have a name. This is Jason.
That could be me.
You should be an egg for Halloween, Maddie.
I'll give that idea to Morgan.
We need to get her an egg costume. Stat. Next, we have Miss Langtree's father, Lorna, and Auntie Whispers.
Told you, she looks demonic.
She does, but like she doesn't look like the dog demonic.
No, she does not.
Like this is what the turtles did to the dog, and she's straight up eating turtles on the daily. Why does she look like this? Her nose looks a little phallic.
Don't bring it up.
Would you like to take the rest, Madeline?
We got Fred the horse.
This is Beatrice. She doesn't look very blue though.
But she's not in this ranking for this row.
No.
We've got Sarah.
This is Sarah.
The people of Pottsfield.
Vibe. Love the vibe. I'm going to put up a picture of me last year when I did a photo shoot of me as one of these people from Pottsfield. Boom. There. Okay.
We've got Jimmy B.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Miss Langtree and the Highwayman. I did not want the Highwayman there.
I fought to have the Highwayman in this role.
Okay.
I love the, like, look at his vibe. He is like the most prominent piece of like
Episode 4.
No, like he's in episode 4, but he's like the most prominent visual of like old animation. His like the way he was animated, you could tell it was a different animation style than the rest of the show. If you watch that scene, it is very obvious that he is inspired by old animation.
Yep.
And the songs too. I'll let you do these.
Row A, we've got my boy Uncle Endicott.
And we actually know her name, Marguerite Gray.
Marguerite Gray. That's Enoch.
The cat, but he's actually a pumpkin maypole guy.
And then we have the Beast. We put him there because he is actually a really good villain.
Yes, like he is a good villain. He's smart. He knows how to do his villainry.
Yeah. And then we've got the Woodsman.
He looks so clueless in this picture.
He is clueless.
He actually really is.
Yeah.
And lastly, row
Row
S. We
S.
have our main guys. We have Gregory the
Ah,
elephant.
so cute.
Wirt the gnome, I guess.
Yeah, he's a gnome.
Beatrice the bluebird. Rockfax Rock.
And
Jason Funderburker
the frog.
There is a way to tell them apart. Jason
Yes.
Funderburker the frog, I believe, spells his Funderburker with a U, but Jason Funderburker the human spells it with an E. Jason Funderburker or Burker.
Oh.
I could be getting that.
And that's what we have.
That is what we have for this episode. That was the fastest ranking we ever done because it's already done.
Yeah.
Do I have anything else? I do want to. I'll insert some pictures here because I have some pictures that I was going to put in the episode from last time, but then we couldn't do that. So at the very beginning of the last episode, Maddie had brought a few fall treats for us to eat, and we did a live on the pod like taste test. But we don't have that, and we don't have the treats anymore. They are gone. So here's a picture of Maddie with the treats that she brought us. They were amazing. We loved, well, the cookies, obviously. Your cookies are amazing.
Thank you.
But I think the apple bread,
Really?
apple beer bread, that was a favorite. So good.
Okay.
The actual blondie was so gooey and good.
I'm thinking about doing them for Halloween.
Please. So there's that. I don't know if there was anything else. We talked about the candles.
We talked about the candles. We did the weekly recap.
Yes, we need to do media of the week though. Still, I just want to make sure there's no other like episode details I wanted to talk about. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I gotta stop recording. Okay, so I guess we'll just do media of the week.
Yeah.
And then we'll be good.
Yep. I'm rewatching Gilmore Girls this week.
Fall vibe. I've never seen it, but I know it's fall vibe.
The main characters irritate the hell out of me. I forgot about that. I'm in love with the main love interest for the mom. His name is Luke. What a man. Love him.
What a man, what a man, what a mighty good man.
And I am Team Jess all the way. So suck it, everyone else. And then obviously I've been listening to a lot of Hozier.
Mm-hmm. Had to get prepped for that concert.
Had to get prepped.
Let me get my phone.
And Olivia Rodrigo's song Pretty Isn't Pretty. That's what I've been listening to.
Okay. Now this is where I haven't been doing any new media this week. I guess I have.
Are you reading?
I am reading, but I talked about that last week too.
Oh, the book I'm reading is Tower of Dawn. It is in the series Throne of Glass. There we go.
I'm currently reading 2 books right now. I have 3 books on the wait list to be read. I'm gonna have to start reading this one though, so I can get it done before it needs to be due.
26th.
Yeah. So I'm currently reading because last week I finished. I can't remember the names. Let me pull up my phone real quick. I read the first book of Game of Thrones. I finished it after 2 years of reading it. Yeah, and it was an 800-page book, but it took me 2 years to read it. I took many month breaks, though. I will say that. There were many month periods where I just wasn't reading. Okay, so the first one is called A Game of Thrones. So I finished that last week, and then I started reading the second book, which is A Clash of Kings. That book, I dropped the frog, is, I have it here. That book is 969 pages long.
Yeah.
I'm on page 323, so I'm kind of getting through it fast, but like, I don't want to stop reading that one so I can read this other one. But this one, if I'm already 300 pages into that, this should be nothing, because this is like 300 pages.
Yeah. I read 5 300 pages books in a week.
I wish I could read fast. Like, I can't read fast. I have to listen to audiobooks so I can get them done.
I just was really bored.
Yeah.
And work was slow.
Well, yeah, I'm sure if you work at a library, you have some downtime to read books.
It looks good for the community.
So, I guess I'll say I've been reading that book out. That's on my list. The other book I'm reading is a poetry book.
Wart.
I don't know the name of it though. I can't. It's in my bag over there, but I don't want to go get it.
Do you want me to get it?
I guess I'll just go get it. you keep our frog company. I didn't.
So,
he kind of looks like the frog.
When I was a child, I was really obsessed with frogs and horses. Just a little fun Maddie fact.
Was that it? Just your
Yeah.
fact? Okay. So
I had a toad.
Here I have my books I'm reading. I have A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. It's a thick one. Look, I'm not even 300 pages, and that's how far I'm into it.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Do you have it on Goodreads?
Yeah, I'm keeping up to date with it.
Nice.
But like, this isn't even the longest book in this series.
Yeah, I know.
Because I do the audiobook. So this one is 37 hours, I believe it takes to read it at most.
Ugh.
Or I guess at least. But the longest one is 48 hours long. And I read
That's 2 days.
I know. I read these books at 2 times speed so I can get them done. Because the guy in here is like, he talks slow.
Yeah.
He does great with the audiobooks though. He does all the voices and it's pretty good. But like, and another book I'm reading is Maybe Today by S.K. Williams.
Ooh.
Poetry book. Not my favorite poetry book I've read, but I've only read like 4, so.
I don't read poetry.
I wanted to get into it. I have 2 poetry books up there on the deck that I haven't read yet. So that was a long time just to say I'm reading 2 books. I always struggle with my meat. Oh, that's the guy that's doing the audiobook. Here, I'll put it out.
A Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
Like, he gets you into the vibe of Game of Thrones. I love him. I don't think I have any music for the week because, like, I haven't really listened to anything. I guess I'll say this. I've been listening to Do You Want to Touch Me? Oh Yeah by Joan Jett so much. Maddie, what's so funny?
When did you drop this candle?
A while ago. Oh, also, the VMAs were last night. I watched all the performances. Highly recommend Sabrina Carpenter's performance and also Shakira's. So good. So, if you're my friends on Airbuds and you see me bopping out to She-Wolf 7 times in a row, mind your business.
Duly noted.
Yes. Thank you, Maddie. Duly noted. So also, lastly, I've watched 19 movies in the past, like, week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you one of my favorites. Malignant. I watched Malignant the other day. Such a good film. It knocked my socks off. This little guy, $5.
What?
Yeah.
He's so funny.
He was worth it, though. I have him up there with my trinkets. That's my trinket shelf.
My trinkets.
Yeah, I have a little plant, some Legos. I have a bullet casing up there. I found it at a wedding. Janie likes Lacey from Olivia Rodrigo's. Janie likes Lacey from Olivia Rodrigo's new. Oh my gosh, album. Wow. Okay.
Guts.
I have to be done. I'm losing my mind here. Any last words, Maddie?
I have to go to work.
Oh yeah, you have to go back to work.
Yep.
That's gross.
I'm full time now at the library.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, this has been the Mostly Media podcast, where we talk media
Mostly.
Thank you for watching. I'm so glad we got to redo this, Maddie.
I'm too. I'm glad we got a time to figure this out.
Yeah. So thank you for watching. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We have links in our Instagram bio. You can send us some money. I'm not even kidding. There's a link to send us money if you want. I put so much work into this. I sound so greedy. I'm kidding. It's a joke. My email's on there if you want to email us. Let us know if you have any other episode recommendations, if you want to see something different on the show. Yeah. So
if you want to hear someone different.
Yeah. If you want to be on the show, by all means, hit me up. I can find time.
I will not be offended. Not that I don't like being on your show.
We need some new guests besides you and Morgan just every other week.
Or Grace.
She's only been on once.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.